I still remember the exact second the message arrived. Not because it was loud or dramatic, but because of how casually it erased me. I was sitting in a quiet coffee shop, laptop open, legal documents spread across the table, preparing for the final round of negotiations that would decide the future of the company I had spent 6 years building from nothing. The air smelled like burnt espresso and rain-soaked concrete from the street outside. My phone vibrated once. Mom, I hesitated. I shouldn't have opened it. But old habits don't die easily, especially when they come wrapped in family names. Sweetheart, I'm so sorry, but we're going to have to skip you this year for Thanksgiving. Tyler and his wife are hosting, and they're keeping it curated. She's invited colleagues from the firm and her parents. You understand, right? We'll do coffee next time you're in town. Love you. I read it twice. Then a third time. Not because I didn't understand, but because my brain refused to accept how cleanly I'd been cut out, curated. That word sat heavy in my chest. I turned my phone face down and forced myself back into the meeting, nodding while lawyers discussed valuations and contingencies. Across the table, executives from a global tech firm talked numbers that would soon change my life forever. None of them knew that 5 seconds earlier, my own family had quietly decided I didn't belong at their table. If you've ever been treated like the family embarrassment while secretly building something massive, you already know how this feels. Let me rewind. 6 years earlier, I had graduated with a computer science degree and immediately disappointed everyone by turning down a real job. My older brother, Tyler, had gone to an elite law school, landed at a prestigious firm, and checked every box my parents understood. I didn't. I started a cybersecurity company focused on small businesses, not flashy startups, not billion-dollar unicorn dreams, just real protection for people who couldn't afford enterprise solutions. Tyler called it my computer thing. My parents asked if I was making enough to survive. Family dinners felt like quiet interrogations disguised as concern. When Tyler married into wealth, it got worse. His wife came from a world where success wasn't measured by what you built, but by where you lived and who recognized your last name. From the moment she met me, I saw it in her eyes. The mental categorization. Not impressive. Not relevant. I didn't fight it. I didn't correct anyone. I let them think I was barely getting by. Hoodie. Old car. Modest apartment. While they celebrated Tyler's promotions and hosted curated events, I focused on the business. One client became 10. 10 became 50. 50 became hundreds. We built proprietary systems, landed government contracts, hired real talent. We weren't loud, but we were unstoppable. Still, my family never asked real questions. They didn't want answers. They wanted reassurance that their hierarchy made sense. The Thanksgiving disinvitation wasn't sudden. It was just the first time they said the quiet part out loud. Back in the coffee shop, the meeting wrapped up. Hands were shaken. Papers signed. The deal was done. A few hours later, on Thanksgiving evening, the headline dropped. My phone lit up non-stop. Global tech firm acquires. Quiet cybersecurity leader in landmark. $500 million deal. The same night my family decided I didn't fit their image. The world decided my company was worth $500 million. I didn't call anyone. I didn't post anything. I sat alone, eating takeout, watching my phone vibrate itself into exhaustion. Missed calls, voicemails, texts. People who hadn't spoken to me in years suddenly needed clarification, confirmation, connection. The silence I'd lived with for years had finally noticed me. And that's when everything truly began to unravel. By the time the movie credits rolled, my phone showed over 100 missed calls. I didn't feel rushed to respond. For the first time in years, silence felt earned. Not lonely. Not empty. And I listened to one voicemail only, the first one from my mother. Her voice trembled, confused, suddenly unsure of the reality she had been so confident about just 48 hours earlier. She said my name the way people do when they realize they might be standing on the wrong side of history. The next message was from Tyler, short, controlled, the same tone he used with junior associates at his firm. Call me. We need to talk. Even then, it wasn't concern. It was damage control. I didn't respond that night, or the next morning. By then, the story had grown legs. Business publications ran features. Analysts debated the deal. Industry leaders praised the strategy. People who once dismissed my work as that computer thing were now reading about it in headlines between political news and market updates. Around noon the following day, I sent one message to the family group chat I hadn't been active in for years. Just one line. Polite. Controlled. Final. Happy Thanksgiving. Sorry I couldn't make dinner. Business ran late. I attached a single link. The response was immediate chaos. My mother begged me to call. Tyler demanded an explanation. His wife suddenly wanted clarification, worried about confusion. The same people who had carefully curated me out were now scrambling to curate me back in. That's when I understood something important. Their behavior hadn't changed because they suddenly valued me. It changed because the world had validated me in a language they respected. Money. Headlines. Status. Later that evening, Tyler showed up unannounced at my apartment. He looked smaller than I remembered. The confidence he wore like armor had cracks in it now. He tried to apologize. Said he hadn't realized how big my company had become. Said his wife didn't mean it that way. Said family was family. I listened quietly. Then I asked him one question. If the deal hadn't happened, would you be standing here right now? He didn't answer. He didn't have to. Silence does more damage than honesty ever could. I told him I wasn't angry. I wasn't cutting anyone off out of spite. I was simply done shrinking myself to fit rooms I was never meant to beg entry into. Relationships built on conditional respect don't survive clarity. They only survive control. When he left, I didn't feel victorious. I felt light. In the weeks that followed, my life expanded in ways that had nothing to do with money. I moved without explaining. I worked without being questioned. I slept without the weight of proving myself. For the first time, my worth wasn't up for negotiation at family dinners, or silently ranked against someone else's milestones. The irony wasn't that they excluded me before I succeeded. The irony was that I succeeded the moment I stopped needing their approval. People love to call this revenge. It isn't. Revenge requires intention. This was consequence. I didn't expose anyone. I didn't correct narratives. I didn't demand apologies. I simply continued living in truth while others tripped over their assumptions. Here's what I learned, and this matters if you're listening closely. Some families don't reject you because you failed. They reject you because your path threatens the story they tell themselves. And the moment your success stops matching their script, they call it a phase, a risk, a mistake. Until the world applauds, and suddenly they always believed in you. But by then, it's too late. Because once you build a life that doesn't require permission, you stop knocking on doors that were never meant to open for you. They didn't invite me to Thanksgiving. But that same night, the world invited me into something bigger. And I finally accepted.